Gator Dave, how we doing?
We're good, Mike. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good. I still got this medal on my side of the screen, so it's a
Yeah, it's
good
a good
week.
thing. It was a good week. It was a good week for you. Yeah, well,
Well, sorta.
it
Not
was a
not really. At
it was
least I
a
have the medal because I don't really have much else because of it. It was all bad. Dave,
it
how we
was a
doing?
better week, Mike.
We're
It was a
good,
better
Mike.
week
How are
than
you,
me.
my friend?
Let's put it that way. So
I'm good. I'm good. I
neither
still
one
got
of us
this medal on
lit
my
it
side
up
of
at
the
all,
screen,
but
so we got an echo
yeah, it's
going
a
on,
good
Dave.
thing. Do we? It was a good week.
Yeah, do you have
You
something on? Okay. All right. I think we're good now. Sorry, that was
you
weird.
good? Good. All
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. All right. So let me
All
throw
right.
up the recap from last week since we're talking about it.
All right. Let's do it.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. We've had
No, it
better,
wasn't
that's for
great.
sure.
So let's just blow by that. So we got week four. We are Bets Utopia, number one location, all things sports betting. Please subscribe, like, follow. So we rise to the top. Live shows 8 p.m. Wednesday nights. So you get those bets in for the Thursday games. So again, rough week for Gator Day. Not much better for Miami Mike, but he's still way ahead. Not to mention my Gators drop another one. So little embarrassment in the swamp, but we got out of there early, which was a good thing. So let's pass that by us, Mike, and let's move on to this week's picks. How about that?
Let's do it. Let's get to it. You
All
want to start
right,
us off
let's.
with the first game?
All right, so first game down there in Louisiana, we're going Tulane is -3 at UL. Our wonderful Billy Napier's old place. So that over under is 55 on that game. So Tulane comes in at a paltry 1-2, not too hot. Louisiana comes in at a hot 2-0. Tulane, however, their losses come to Oklahoma by 15 and Kansas State by 7. So pretty decent competition there, and they surely weren't run out of the house. So Louisiana, they beat Kennesaw State, the newest team to the to the big boy league, and they've beaten Grambling, so not much anything. Tulane's 2-1 against the spread, which is interesting. Tulane's quarterback Mensa 59%, not too hot. However, 713 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The running back Hughes is 258, 4.8 yards a carry, and 2 TDs. Louisiana quarterback Woolridge, 77%, 497, 4-1. Perry's their running back, only 149 yards and 1 TD in the 2 games. So Louisiana hasn't really played anybody yet. I think Tulane comes into this game, I'll be honest, ready, as they have had much better competition. And I think that's what's going to make the difference in this game, because Louisiana hasn't seen the competition and Tulane's been respectable against two power four teams. So give me Tulane to cover the points, Mike.
All right. See, and the best part about this, Dave, I was with you. I was with you until I
You
started doing
changed, Mike. You
started doing
changed.
some analysis. I went deep down the rabbit hole, okay?
All
So
right.
let's just run through a couple quick things, okay? Louisiana has a top 10 or I'm sorry, top 20 defense in the country right now,
Okay.
but they haven't really played anybody.
No, nobody.
Week
Zero.
week 1, Grambling State, they beat them 40-10. Week 2, you just mentioned it, Kennesaw State 34-10, and then they had a bye. So they're coming off a bye week. Tulane sitting at 1-2, looking good, looking pretty. 7-point loss to Kansas State, who's ranked, I think it's 13th now. So, that's definitely up there. The problem with Tulane is offense gave up 5 sacks and 2 turnovers. Ended up being the rally that Kansas State needed in that one. They pulled it out. Last week they played Oklahoma, lost 34-19. But in that game, it was 24-19 at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Tulane had a pick six that had them right there in that game. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. We got a game that we're talking about.
So,
Uh, so hold on. But the problem for Tulane is their rush defense. That's the problem, Dave.
their
That's the
rush
problem is their
defense,
rush
Mike.
defense. They gave up
Ah,
215 to Kansas State, and they gave up
Okay.
182 to Oklahoma last week. That
Okay.
ain't
Okay.
good. That ain't good, Dave.
That's not
I
good.
think Tulane comes into this one thankful, thinking that this one is a layup compared to the last 2 weeks. They're going to get caught slipping. Louisiana's going to get it done at home. Give me the cover and potentially the outright. Louisiana +3 at home.
All right. I like it, Mike. I love that analogy. I love it. Actually, I think you gave me more than I even had up there. So good job. I like it. I like it, Mike. Hey, we gotta say hey to Public House. My man J Rod. Say what's up there, buddy. So you let me take this next game since it's the old alma mater. How about that? And then we'll let you ride on a couple. So we got Memphis, University of Memphis, -9.5 at Navy. So they're at Navy. Tigers are 3-0. Navy's 2-0. Tigers, they've beaten FSU and Troy. Quite respectable teams. Navy's wins, however, against two cellar dwellers in Temple and Bucknell. Temple's really bad, too, by the way. Tigers 3-0 against the spread. Navy's 1-1. So I'm sure you're struggling to try to figure out why I went this way, Mike. But Tigers, Seth Hennigan, 68%, 741, 5-1. Leading rusher Anderson is 5 yards per game and 4 TDs. So the Navy quarterback, which we know we have the triple option, right? So he's only throwing at 57%, 220 yards. He is also the leading rusher at 155 yards, 7 yards per carry when he's running the ball and 3 TDs. So Memphis comes in the game. Great victory. I love it. I love it. I love it over Florida State and our boy down there last week. But they got to prepare for this triple option, Mike. And I think they're gonna win the game, but they're playing at Navy, and I think the option is gonna give a little bit of trouble. And as much as I don't like looking back, even at last year, Tigers only won 28-24 at Memphis last year. So I'm going to take those 9.5 points thinking that Memphis wins by a touchdown. So I wish it was 10 because that's what it really needs to be. But I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, give me the 9.5, Mike.
Yeah, I'm with you for the same reasons. Memphis is riding high after that Florida State win last week. They had a chance to potentially lose that at the end, so it was a little bit of a roller coaster for them. Massive upset in terms of just program prestige, not necessarily record or rank or anything like that this year. But that's a big win for that program. So
it's huge.
You're coming off of that, and like you said, you're going into this game against Navy, who is ground and pound, very disciplined. If you do not play your position and do your job on defense, you are going to get hosed by this team. They are going to come to play. I'm with you. I like the points in this situation. I'm going to take Navy also. I do think Memphis will end up winning this game, like you said. They were actually my number 12 to get into the playoffs during our preview shows at the beginning of the year. So I do think they get by Navy here. But if Navy can get on them early and, make it a 14-10, 10-6 kind of game, going into the second quarter, going into halftime, they 100% have a shot. If Memphis gets on them early and goes up 14-0, you can write it in the books. It's done. It's Navy's out of there. So Navy has to start early. They got to start strong. But I'm with you. I'm on the midshipman.
Cool. Hey, we gotta say hello to Evelyn, Ian, and Hindu rolling with us. What's up, guys? Thanks for coming. All right, Mike, you want to hit the next couple?
Yeah. What do we got here? We got Houston, Cincy. Let me see. My handy dandy notebook. All right, so Houston's offense has struggled heavily to start the season. They're averaging just 17 points a game. They're barely eclipsing the 200-yard mark total per passing game. Their defense has been great, though, however. That's kind of like how they've rode what sort of momentum, if you want to call that they have. 2 weeks ago, Houston outgained Oklahoma, but lost the game 12-16. They've had 2 great defensive performances in a row. Week 1, they lost pretty bad to UNLV, kind of got blown out a little bit. Ever since then, they've kind of turned it on. On the flip side, Cincinnati's pass defense is terrible, absolutely atrocious. They give up over 300 a game on average. Their offense, however, has been nice. They're averaging over 500 total yards a game and over 30 points a game right now. So to me, this is a battle of two strengths and two weaknesses, kind of a bit of a tug-of-war match. Strengths are Houston's defense versus Cincinnati's offense. Weaknesses, Houston's offense versus Cincinnati's defense. So which one's going to break first? I think it's going to be the Bearcats' defense. It stinks to high heaven. The Bearcats' defense is awful. I think that's what's going to be the difference in this one. Houston's quarterback, Donovan Smith, he has not had a good year so far, but he is super capable of making the throws that they need to win ball games. I think he is able to get it going against his secondary, which is very, very questionable for Cincinnati. The line is also dropped, from -5.5 to -3.5 now. So there is some money coming in on Houston. Something else to note there. So go ahead and give me the Washington State Cougars plus the 3.5 here, Dave. What you got?
About the Houston Cougars this time,
the
not
Houston,
Washington.
the Houston Cougars.
Houston Cougars
plus
There you
3.5.
There you go. All right.
The
So
other Cougars.
the other Cougars. Let's keep our Cougars lined up. All right. Mike laid it out pretty well. Houston's only 1-2, and Cincy's 2-1. But like Mike said, Houston stayed with Oklahoma, which is gonna. We've talked about Oklahoma twice in teams that aren't that great that they've struggled with. So thus another pick down in the night. So Cincinnati lost to Pitt by 1 point. Houston's 2-1 against the spread, Mike. So that's a point there for you, my friend, because Bearcats are only 1-2. You talked about Smith. Sorsby's done a pretty damn decent job, 63%, 867 yards, 6 touchdowns, and no TDs. Their running back Connor's averaging 7 yards per game. So Cincinnati's offense is damn good. Mike talked about over 500 yards a game, 14th in the NCAA. They're the driving force. Sorsby's averaging almost 300 a game, hadn't thrown an interception. I think the difference in this game is that Cincinnati offense, and they're playing at home, which gives you a little bit of edge. I'd love for this to have been at 3. If you could get it at 3, it'd be great, but it is 3.5, I guess. Is that where you got it, Mike?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna take Cincinnati to go ahead and cover those 3.5 points here, Mike.
And I just want to say this was one of those ones. So when Dave and I spoke earlier today about when he submitted his picks, I told him that we lined up on, it was like 10 out of the 12 games we were matched up with.
And you didn't feel good about that.
I couldn't have it. You see the record over there. I'm just saying. It scared me, Dave. It scared me.
Yeah.
So it's either I'm taking a substantial lead on you, or you're back in the ball game after this week. But we couldn't agree on that much. It just wouldn't have been a good show. We needed some hostility, some conflict, So I want to clarify. I was on Cincinnati. Well, yeah.
Second guessers. We'll see how that works this time.
We'll see. All right, next game. Kansas, West Virginia. You can take it. You got it.
All right, so Kansas, West Virginia. Man, I almost hate this one because we've been monkeying with West Virginia for a while. So West Virginia's like 2.5. Hey, and one thing I meant to say, Mike, on this game, if you have a little extra pizza money, my gut tells me it might go over 48 points. I know Houston's offense hadn't been all that, but my gut says it might go over 48. Just throwing that out there for the heck of it.
You're talking about Houston-Cincy?
Houston-Cincy, yeah. Okay. All right.
Got you.
So Kansas at West Virginia. West Virginia -2.5. Both teams come in the game at a surprising 1-2. No one thought Kansas was going to be that way. UNL beat Kansas by 3 last week. West Virginia lost in the backyard brawl by 4. So it was just wasn't good for either one of them, and Mike and I lost on both those. So Daniels comes in 54%, 442, 3 touchdowns and 6 interceptions for Kansas, which is not good. He's supposed to be the man, but he's having lots of problems. Devin Neal's averaging 7.5 yards a carry and 2 TDs. So Green on the other side of the ball for West Virginia, 60%, 607 yard wise, and he's five TDs and 2 interceptions. So we know West Virginia lost a heartbreaker, but the offense played well. Kansas comes in trying to snap this 2-game losing streak that they had to Illinois and UNLV. West Virginia could give Kansas a little bit of trouble. Again, this one's at home. We know it's not the easiest place to play. If the Mountaineers can clear up some of their errors and turnovers, I think they got a chance in this one, Mike, because Daniels looks like shit. So give me West Virginia in the money line, sir.
Yep. This is another one. This is another one that, I was drinking the Kool-Aid, Dave. I was drinking the Kool-Aid. However, all right, you mentioned Jalen Daniels and his turnover issues, okay? Do you know how many turnovers the Mountaineers defense has caused this year?
A
Through
lot.
3 games.
None. 1.
Uno.
Okay.
Uno. And it was a fumble. It wasn't even an interception. All right? So,
Okay. Like it.
that's a bright side for Daniels. This
Yes.
team doesn't have
Yeah.
experience getting those
With
turnovers, ball hawking. Just something to consider. Another major bright side here for Kansas is their running back, Devin Neal. He's got 45 carries on the year. He's a workhorse. He's averaging over 7.4 yards per carry. Absolutely stupid. The thing with West Virginia is they've been pretty good against the rushing game the last 2 weeks. They gave up 222 to Penn State in week 1. Since then, just under 90 yards for the last 2 weeks combined. So that give and take. I think this is the week that Jalen Daniels finally gets it together. If you look at the statistics from the first 3 games, Kansas should have won every game. He kind of just couldn't control the football. He's had turnovers in every game. All he's got to do is maintain the football, not do costly turnovers, and Kansas would be 4-0 or 3-0 right now. They had 1 possession losses to be 1-2 in the last 2 weeks. Easily could be 3-0. This is a game that Kansas goes and gets the win. I like Kansas to go to Morgantown and upset them. Boom.
All righty. Another head-to-head. Damn it, man. All right.
We're gonna have a bunch. I told you I couldn't have it. I
like it. I love it, Mike. I love it. All right. Next game, another Kansas game. What do you got?
Yeah, so we got Kansas State taking on BYU. Kansas State is a 6.5-point favorite, ranked 13th. This one I kind of went back and forth with a little bit, just because Kansas State had a great week last week, right? Really looked good against Arizona. Not so fast. Kansas State is an all-rushing team. They go as the running game goes. I think BYU is going to be able to slow down that running game. Here's some numbers for you. So also BYU is 3-1 against the spread as a home underdog, and 3-1 against the spread at home, also versus Big 12 opponents. Over the last 5 years, BYU's record at home versus top 25 opponent, Dave, 6-2 against the spread. In those same home games versus a top 25 opponent, and they're the underdog in those games, 4-2 straight up outright wins. Both of these teams are second half teams, Kansas State and BYU. If you're looking at playing a total in this game, I would suggest probably looking at a first half under. They both are, second half adjustment teams, and then they kind of show out. I'm gonna again. I was really torn. I kept flip flopping a little bit. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm going Cougs. We're following the Cougar train. The other Cougs, Gator
Yes,
Dave.
yes. Cougar,
Give me the
Cougar two,
Cougs.
but not Washington State. But that's
Not
okay.
Washington State. No, no, not
Okay. All
Washington
right.
State.
All right.
This isn't game day. The flag is not flying here.
Okay.
BYU plus 6.5. What say you, sir?
First, let's say hey to our friend Navorsky. What's up, buddy? So, how your Dolphins doing there, my friend? All right. So, all right. Kansas
You all
State
right?
at BYU. Kansas State BYU. So Mike laid it out pretty well. I'm in the same I'm in the same boat here. So Kansas State beat Arizona, Tulane, Tennessee Martin. BYU wins over Wyoming, SMU, Southern Illinois. Not quite the talent. Kansas State, however, is this year is 1-2 against the spread. BYU's 3-0. Okay. And like Mike said, a lot of running with Avery Johnson and Giddens for Kansas. QB for BYU, very respectable. Retzlaff, 61%, 841, 7 TDs, 3 interceptions. And he's the leading rusher, Mike. 113 yards, 4.7 a carry. So I'm pretty impressed with where they are right now, and I think they've got a great shot in this game. The Wildcats 0-4 against the spread, like Mike said, is a road favorite last season. 0-4 against spread as road favorite. BYU's defense has been solid the last 3 games. I think they're going to find a way to slow down Avery Johnson, and that's going to make the difference. And I, as well, am going to take the Cougars and them points. So love it. We're right on the same here. So good stuff.
Keep your Cougars in line.
Cougars in line. All right, I'm gonna get this next one, man, because I like this one. Rub it.
I bet you do.
Hopefully Ian's still on.
All right.
He told us to chill out. Memphis almost got upset against Florida State. Hindu is slamming Ian. All right. So we got California at Florida State. Florida State, of course, is the favorite by 2.5 points. As well they should be. They're 0-3. Cal's 3-0. Cal beat Auburn and San Diego State. 2-1 against the spread. FSU has beaten they're 0-3. So Cal's quarterback, Mendoza. You like that? The old Mendoza line. 70%, 589 yards, 5 TDs, 1 interception. Running back Thomas, 241, 7.8 yards a carry and a TD. DJU tearing it up, baby, 56%. 661, 1 TD, Mike. He's done 1 TD, 2 interceptions. Their leading rusher, Mike, your boy Toafili. You know how many yards he's got? 67, Mike. He's got 67. So here's something to think about that we didn't even think about when we did our picks, but California wasn't a bad team last year. They were 44th team overall in 2023. They were ranked 49th on offense, 39th on defense. They returned that experienced quarterback, running back. However, they do have a new offensive coordinator. But Florida State, they're 1-6 against the spread in the last 7 games as a favorite. Cal is also pretty decent defensively. So I think they're going to give DJU a little bit of a problem. So give me Cal and however many points I can get, 2.5, 3, 2, whatever I can get, I'll take because I think they'll beat them straight up. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, unfortunately,
you think it's going to be?
Absolutely not. The key in this one, his name is Jaden Ott, and he's Cal's running back. He had 1,300 yards rushing last year. He didn't play last week. He's going to suit up in this one, and he's going to tear the Florida State defense apart. That's been their biggest weakness this year, in my opinion, is their defense. and their inability to run the football. I don't necessarily think it's all on DJU. Has he made some bad plays? Absolutely. But the offensive line has sucked. The running game has sucked. The rush defense has sucked. It has not been good for Florida State. And I hate to say it. I hate to be the one to be the bearer of bad news. Last year was fool's gold. Fool's gold, folks. All right? It just is what it is. Mike Norvell, he's not the guy. He was never the guy. So I'm with you. I think California upsets Florida State in Doak Campbell. It's crazy to me that they're favorites. You know, that may tell you something that we don't know necessarily when it comes to Vegas or things like of that nature. But to me, there's no reason why Florida State should be favored in this game. I think Cal gets it done and gives Florida State their first 0-4 loss to start the season since 2021 under the same head coach, Mike Norvell. It hasn't been a very long time, folks. So same. It's history repeats itself. So yeah, give me California.
So Ian's over there off the top ropes on me, but I've been picking his team. You know, I've picked his team the last few weeks, and they haven't made it out for me. So now I've got to go against your team because they're not doing well. Not that my team's doing any better. Speaking of which, let's talk them Florida Gators, Mike. Coming up, going to Mississippi State, baby. Florida is, Mike, they are favored by 6 points, Mike. Our team is favored by 6. Both these teams come in at 1-2, just tearing it up in the SEC. Tearing it up, man. You know, the Gators beat a strong Sanford team. You know, Mississippi State beat a tough Eastern Kentucky team. You know, the Gators are 0-3 against the spread, but they're averaging 259 passing and 149 rushing. The Dogs, only 204 passing, 145 rushing. Mike, this would be, I am calling this the SEC Crap Bowl. The winner is the crappiest team in the SEC. So, yes, I see that, Mike. I see that. So, loser loses the league in the SEC. Okay? Some little tidbit of information.
What did you forget? Vanderbilt exists?
Oh, they're better than both these teams.
You're out of your mind.
No, they're better than both these teams. So, Mike, let's talk about the sidelines of Florida. I watched the sidelines during that game, and there was no energy on the sidelines, Mike. They know their coach is gone. They know they're going nowhere, and it ain't good. I think the Gators' heads are messed up now. Playing their first game on the road, those cowbells are irritating as hell. The Gator defense can't tackle. The right side of the O-line can't block. So give me them Dogs.
What else? What else is bad about them? Keep it going. Keep it going.
The coach will be here all night, Mike. We don't have time for that. Give me the Dogs and the points there, sir. What say you?
I'm on the Gators. So I'm going to take the Gators -6 because it makes no sense, Dave. That's exactly why I'm taking them, because it makes no sense. It makes 0 sense why the Gators should be giving anybody points, let alone 6 in their home stadium where cowbells are involved, needless to say. What are we doing?
Irritating.
There's something that somebody else knows that I don't. I'm going to take the Gators to get the cover. I think it's like a 21-4. It's ugly. It's going to – well, no. I'm sorry. I keep going back and forth. I almost took the over. When you put this game on, I almost took the over in it because both of these defenses are just so bad. But that would actually mean the offenses would have to finish drives. And that's the disconnect. That's the disconnect. No. So I am just going to take Florida to get the cover. This is a Mississippi State team that got absolutely hosed by Toledo last week, 41-17 at home. I think the Gators find a way to get it done. DJ Lagway has a great game. He's going to find holes that he didn't have last week against Texas A&M. And you're talking about the sideline. You left at halftime. The team started playing after you left the game.
The third quarter. I left midway through the third quarter, man.
See, they started scoring a little bit. They started making,
fourth quarter when they start putting the scrubs in.
We'll see. I got the Gators. I haven't lost faith yet in your team.
Okay, well, I'm glad you haven't lost faith in my team because I have. So, let's talk about the future Gator coach and his next game. What you think?
All right, so this one's not hard for me, okay? Ole Miss, their offense is the number one in the nation. They got over 700 total yards a game right now. 430 of that is through the air, 255 on the ground. They're putting up 56 points per game through 3 games. Absolutely stupid numbers. On the flip side, you got Georgia Southern, who's one of the worst defenses in all of college football. They're giving up over 250 passing yards a game, over 235 rushing yards a game. They're giving up 30 points per game, 52% on third down conversions on defense. Absolutely terrible. It's going to be Ole Miss by a landslide. But my play here, Dave, is Ole Miss team total over 49. 49. They're going to put up 50 on Georgia Southern easily. I think they're going to have 40 by halftime. So give me team total over 49 for Ole Miss against Southern. What say you, sir?
All right, I'm good with that. So, what do I have to add that barrage? So, some more stats. Ole Miss beat Wake Forest by 34. Beat MTSU by 49. Beat Furman by 76. They're 3-0 against the spread. We talked about how crappy Georgia Southern is. Terrible on defense. Jackson Dart, he's at 83%, Mike. And granted, it's been preseason games, but it is Wake Forest, a power of 14. 83%, 1172, leads the nation. 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. Parrish, their running back, 358 yards, averaging 7.8 a carry. Now, here's an interesting thing that's going to get our future coach to the playoff is their defense right now is ranked 22nd, which isn't too bad. They're only giving up 248. Granted, they haven't gotten into the SEC schedule yet. We'll see how that goes as we go along. But, again, Georgia Southern's defense is crap. They allow 56 points to Boise State, and Ole Miss can put up a lot more than that. And here's what I put, Mike. I think they're going to score 50-plus points once again. Take the Rebels to cover the 35.5. So, bada bing.
Right on.
Go Lane Gator Kiffin.
Yikes. Don't cry when he stays at Ole Miss. Didn't he just sign another extension like in this offseason? Where y'all going to get this money from, Dave?
You know how much it's only like $4 million to his buyout because of the silly rules in Mississippi. Yeah, go look it up. That's a good thing.
That's wild.
We got to pay Sling Blade $25 million. So, ugly. All right. I'm gonna go to the next game. Michigan State at Boston College. Now, this is gonna be an interesting game. So BC is coming in 7.5 minus -6.5. Over/unders 45.5. Those over/unders have gone down. Did you notice that, Mike? As we get a little bit more competitive here. So Michigan State's 3-0. Wouldn't expect that. BC's 2-1. Michigan State wins over the powerhouse of Providence, FAU, but they did beat Maryland. BC stayed tough with Mizzou, 27-21 last week, and they're also 3-0 against the spread. MSU is 1-2 against the spread. Child's still inconsistent for the Spartans. He's thrown 4 interceptions, only 4 TDs. Castellanos is fun as hell, 64%. His numbers are up. I mean, last year he was below 60, so now he's up. He's up to 64, 589, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he's got 97 yards on the ground. He's not having to run it as much, which is good for him. Michigan State's offense is the problem here, Mike. BC's defense is going to step it up, and I'm going with the home team, and I think they'll win by easy 7 points. So give me Boston College at -6.5, sir. What you say?
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. Also, Dave, this is the red bandana game for Boston College.
Oh, shoot. I forgot about that.
So, for those who don't know, red bandana game is they honor a guy named Wells Crowther who was wearing a red bandana on 9/11, trying to get people out of the World Trade Center, and he ended up passing away. So they have a red bandana. They started it back in 2014 when they played number 9 USC at home and upset them. And they've done it ever since, every year. The reason I say that, also, just to mention it, statistically speaking, it is not the best game for them. I was actually surprised by this because when I found out it was the red bandana game, historically speaking, in my mind, I mean, I remember at least 1 or 2 games that I believe that Miami played Boston College in that game, and they gave us a great game in them. But they are just 4-5. Straight up in those games, so something of note. It's not really a major key, like you may necessarily think, but it is cool. It's a super cool thing to watch and be a part of, and it looks like, I'm sure, and it is a night game, I think, too. So that place will be rocking. The biggest thing for me in this one is Bill O'Brien being able to get the most out of his quarterbacks, which is what he's done wherever he's gone in his career, and he's doing the same thing with Thomas Castellanos. This dude is having a baller of a year. He's got 9 total touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. The reason I say that is because last year he started 13 games. He had 15 touchdowns and 14 interceptions through 13 games. He's got 9 already through 3. He's cut those interceptions way down. He really, I've said it before when we've talked about BC in the past, he is like Kyler Murray's mini-me. The way he moves, the way he throws, the way he runs, it's very Kyler Murray-esque, and like he's gonna play in Sundays for sure. Somebody's gonna draft him. I think this one is Boston College's to win. You mentioned Michigan State's inability to run the ball and basically be effective on offense. Their quarterback, for perspective, Aiden Childs, he's got like 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Really not great numbers. He's had issues turning over the ball in every game that they've played. Nathan Carter, their running back, hasn't really been able to get it going like he wants to. He's still averaging over 5 yards a carry, which is great. But Michigan State sort of had to come back in some situations, so he hasn't really gotten the carries that he should be. Again, I think this is Boston College game. I think it's like a 27-20 game. So give me BC to get it done Saturday night.
Yeah, Mike, I'm going to go ahead. You kind of back things up a little bit for me. I'm going to go ahead and call this game a Gator Day lock.
Is that a lock? Gator Day
lock. The
first
part of the night. There's going to be a couple. There's at least one more for sure, maybe 2. But, I'm going to call this one a lock. I think BC might win by 10. So, but 7 is quite safe. So,
yep.
Hey, shout out to Lux Shampoo and Linda for being in the chat. Hey. So, what you got, Mike? Next game.
Real quick, Gator Dave, before we talk the next game, we're going to talk CYA, Cover Your Assets. It is our sponsor. It's up at the top. Cover Your Assets, shopcya.com. You can find awesome bags like this one. This is a Miami Hurricane tie-dye design. And what it is when you go into a stadium and you need a clear plastic bag, right? There's a piece of paper in here so you can see that there's something inside of it, but it is a clear plastic bag. When you go into a stadium, you need it for security purposes. This is designed to cover your assets. So that way, when you go in the stadium, after you go through security, you can pop it back on. Everything's covered. Nobody sees your giblets and your gooblets and your goblets. It's all protected. So make sure to check out the website. They got tons of designs, hundreds of designs, all sorts of schools, multiple designs for multiple schools. Big things on the way. Big things on the way, folks.
Hey, and not only do they have designs for schools, they have sororities and things like that. I believe I saw that. Gator Dave's been watching. He's on top of Cover Your Assets. That's our sponsor, looking out for us. So yes, so not just your team, your sorority. So
it's a good call.
Do it.
Good call, Dave.
All right. What you got, Mike? I'm liking
All right,
this
so we
next
got
one, baby.
Yeah, we're getting good now. So we got 3 games left. They're all top 25 matchups. So it's gonna get a little spicy. So this line actually moved in favor of Utah earlier in the week. I believe Oklahoma State was the favorite. However, Monday. Just for context, Kyle Whittingham, the head coach of Utah, not a big media guy. He doesn't really like giving the media too much information about injuries, things like that, because come game day, they don't want the opponent to have, a leg up on them or get any sort of type of advantage or blah, blah, blah. So Cam Rising, Utah's quarterback, potential Heisman candidate, potential first-round guy, absolute stud. He hurt his hand. He hurt his finger, his hand. He didn't play last game. He didn't suit up. There was question that he was going to suit up this game coming up because, he's had injury issues. He didn't play at all last year. He's had injury issues before that. But there was a wide receiver for Utah that came out on Monday and said that Cam Rising is going to play. So that's why the line shifted over to Utah. That's why Utah is now the favorite. Gator Dave has had some old fashions, I think. For me, there's 2 things in this one. Cam Rising playing is obviously a big thing. That's a massive, massive key to Utah in general. The other is how bad Oklahoma State's defense has been. They're giving up an average of 480 total yards a game. 300 of that is through the air. When they played Arkansas 2 weeks ago, they gave up over 650 total yards to Arkansas. They were down 7-21 at halftime. They ended up coming back and stealing a win from them, but absolutely atrocious on defense. Arkansas kind of just handed them the win. Mike Gundy, the head coach for Oklahoma State, historically much better at home than he is on the road, but as a home dog, he is even better. Oklahoma State is 9-2 against the spread as a home dog since 2015. In the last 2 years as a home underdog, they are 5-0 against the spread. And I got one more for you. In Big 12 home games last year, Oklahoma State was 5-0 straight up, 4-1 against the spread in those games, and in 3 of them, they got the outright upset win as home underdogs against 2, and 2 of those were against top 25 opponents, Kansas and Oklahoma. Dave, I was originally on Utah in this game because Cam Rising was going to be back in the game. However, that lines up for a home dog situation for Mike Gundy and the Cowboys in Stillwater. I'm going to take Oklahoma State and the +2 at home to get it done against Utah. I'm also a little iffy on Cam Rising even playing. I know the wide receiver said what he was going to say, but I'm kind of iffy on that. So, Gator Dave, what do you say here, sir?
I'm all over that. You started off trying to fake me out, and you did a good job because I thought you were going the other way. But I'm totally with you here. So here's a few other tidbits. So Utah last week, they played Utah State, Mike, and obviously Rising didn't play. But Utah State, that's an FCS school. They played their backup quarterback against Utah's backup quarterback, and Utah didn't cover. So that's suspect, okay? Cowboys did have a scare against Arkansas, I think, and they had a big comeback win. So I think that, I was a little concerned in the beginning because, Mike, I believe this was one of those I got you to put a little money on in terms of the Cowboys, maybe. But so they still have a chance. But Bowman has played much better this year. He was average at best last year. Okay. He's 67% on his passes, almost 1,000 yards, Mike, 9 TDs, 2 interceptions. And Ollie Gordon is not having that great of a year. So all he's got to do is get his shit together and it's going to roll, right?
Yep.
And Mike, you made a point about Cam Rising. A hand injury. I'm not feeling all good about Cam and a hand injury and all that. So I'm thinking we got a good shot here, and I'm gonna take the Cowboys to add in those couple of points we're gonna get, because I think they're gonna win outright. I think they're gonna win. I'm not gonna call this a Gator Day lock, but I think it's pretty damn close. I think I'm gonna win by at least a touchdown here, Mike.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree, so I'm with you. All right, 2 games left, sir. You got this next one.
All right, so next game. Home state. Home state, meaning where I was born. University of Tennessee, -7 at Oklahoma. I've lived in both those states, Mike. Did you know that?
I did.
Tennessee, Oklahoma, Florida, and Georgia. So we got 2 states Gator Dave's lived in. So not that it really damn matters. So both teams come in 3-0.
You didn't hold on. It's not the Battle Bowl of Gator Dave. Is that not what they play for?
Could be. Gator Dave has lived in both these. It could be. You never know.
The BBOGD.
I'm not a fan. I'm not really a fan of either one. So I don't think they'd be playing for Gator Dave. So, both teams 3-0. This, to me, this is the game. You got the last one being the game, which is cool, Big Ten. But I think this is the game of the week here. Tennessee playing at Oklahoma. Tennessee, big win, 51-10 against ACC NC State. Sooners only beat Houston 16-12. We talked about that earlier. And we talked about they only won by 14 against someone else up in our numbers up there. So, to me, Sooners haven't lived up to expectation. Nico and the freaking Vols, 72%, 700 yards, 6 TDs, 2 interceptions. The Vols have 3 running backs that are averaging 8, 10, and 7 yards per carry. Jackson Arnold basically came in the same time Nico did. He's the redshirt freshman. 63%, only 484, 7 TDs, 2 interceptions. He's also their leading rusher at 159. So I think that pigeonholes them a bit. If they can control Jackson Arnold, they control that offense, okay? Oklahoma relies heavy on this guy. So I just think that's where they're going to key on the defensive side. And Tennessee's defense has yet to surrender a touchdown this year, okay? Just finished pitching a shutout to the tough Kent State whatevers. So they're doing pretty well there. But I think that defense can hold Arnold to a respectable number. And I am going to say that Tennessee will cover those 7 points, and I am calling this one a Gator Dave lock because I think they win by 10.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee, you said it a little bit, top 5 offense, top 5 defense. They're averaging 63 points per game on offense. They're giving up just 4 points per game on defense through 3 games. Over 640 total yards a game on offense is what they're averaging. And they're giving up under 170 total yards a game on defense right now. Almost a 500-yard differential, 60-point differential. That's just utterly insane. I don't care if they're playing Children of the Poor. I mean, those are numbers. Oklahoma, they've had shines of improvement compared to last year. Brent Venables, he just kind of hasn't been able to get it going. Consistency. That's the biggest word for me that I keep thinking about when it comes to this Oklahoma team. They just don't have consistency on offense, on defense. This is their first conference game as a member of the SEC, and unfortunately, I think it's also going to be their welcome to the SEC moment. Tennessee is going to slap them around at home. They're probably going to put up 40 on them. Oklahoma State, I would be very, very surprised if they get 30 on this Tennessee defense. So I'm with you. I think Tennessee gets the cover. I think they add this top 25, top 15 team to their playoff resume, and they go ahead and run through Oklahoma a little bit, unfortunately.
Awesome. All right, we agree on that one.
All right.
That's a biggie. All right, you wanna hit the next one? Hey, and Mike, when I first looked at this game, tell me if I'm right or not, because I've got it's still up on my sheet. Was Michigan favored by like 10 points in the beginning here? So this is one of those games, folks, that if you saw on Sunday, which I think I put this down on Monday, Michigan was favored by 11. I think I would have bet the farm on that, on Sunday or Monday, had I been in a state at which we could bet legally. So I just wanted to double check and make sure, because I saw that up there, Mike. So because now it's gone to 5.5 for USC. Is that what you got?
Yeah.
So, all right, go ahead. What you got, buddy?
So yeah, you mentioned the line change when it opened up back in July. It was at 9.5. It got as high as 11.5, and it switched. It flip flopped and when I say minus 9.5, minus 11.5, I mean as Michigan as the favorite.
Yes.
It's now USC is the favorite. It was as high as USC minus 7.5. So that's a massive, massive, massive swing. Even now at 5.5, it's still a 14-point swing. That's a 2-touchdown swing. Just massive. So, it is very important. If you feel good about a side, say you were on USC, all along, you get some money line on that early, or you get those points, you're at a huge advantage. Like I said, 2-touchdown swing, just something to consider moving forward. If you do look ahead to these games, kind of a week ahead, that's something that we've been doing just to kind of get an idea of what next week's shows are going to be. So if you look at these spreads, some of them are up Saturday night. Most of them are up by Sunday night. If you go ahead and start looking at some of those, you can get some really good lines. Unfortunately, we do the live lines that we have currently Wednesday when we're doing the show. That's what the lines up that we have. But there are better lines out there, better opportunities if you like a side early on. So something to consider. So back to the game. You got Alex Orji making the start for Michigan. He's been the backup the first couple games. They're benching the starter, Davis Warren. He threw 3 interceptions last game. They've really struggled as an offense through the first 3 games. Orji is a dual threat guy. He actually ranks 3rd in the team in rushing. This is going to be USC's first road game of the season. It's also going to be their first Big Ten conference game since becoming a member of the Big Ten. They're coming off a bye week, so they've had a little bit of extra time to prepare for Michigan. Defense for USC is looking very, very much improved from last year. They look like they can actually be a potential playoff team if they can continue to do what they're doing. I think this one is close early, but I like USC here, like 27-17. Both of these defenses are relatively similar in terms of statistics. To me, it's going to come down to quarterback play. And I'm going to take Moss Miller for USC over Alex Orji making his first start against a top 11, top 15 program any day of the week. Miller's proven himself in some big games. He played in a bowl game. He's performed. I think he's going to be able to show up in this one. I'm a little nervous about Michigan and what they're going to do. Also, something of note, Lincoln Riley is 3-1 straight up off a bye since being at USC as their head coach. And Michigan has another fun note. Well, there's no real angle to this one, but Michigan in the last 10 years, Dave, has only been a home underdog 4 times going into this season. And they were 2-2 against the spread. They were a home underdog earlier this year against Texas, got absolutely hosed in that one. So that's 2-3 against the spread in the last 10 years as a home dog. I think USC gets it done here. I'm going to take USC minus 5.5. I just think they're going to be too much offense for Michigan. They'll be able to pull away. What do you think here, Dave?
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I mean, we totally agree on these big boy games here. You know, USC getting 5.5. So I'll add to a couple of things that Mike didn't talk about. Obviously, Michigan just got hammered by Texas. Michigan this year 0-3 against the spread. Miller Moss tearing it up for the Trojans, 73%, 607 on yards. Marks, the running back, is at 6 yards per carry, 3 TDs in 2 games. And again, Michigan's lost at quarterback. I mean, they really are. I mean, it's a total shit show for them on the quarterback side of things. And really, Edwards, the running backs, not looking like he did last year. The Mullings kid is actually doing better. He's averaging 7.5 yards a carry. But the Wolverines are not the same team from last year. But we said that at the very beginning in our shows. They only returned 3 starting players from that team from last year. They don't have a consistent passing game. Ground attack, against Arkansas State, okay, they had trouble scoring. They only scored 28 points against the Red Wolves of Arkansas State, okay? They're struggling on third down. I mean, we can go on and on. I mean, Miller Moss is the real deal. I mean, he might not be a Heisman guy, but he's a damn good quarterback. And the most surprising thing so far, it's early, but I think it's enough, is that USC's defense is much better. We talked about that. They got the coach from UCLA, stole him away as they dissipated there at UCLA, so it made a big deal. So I'm calling this one another Gator Day lock. I think USC wins by at least 7, if not 10 points, and they're going to embarrass Michigan at home. So give me USC to cover on this one, Mike.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, let's throw up the recap. So we got a couple of good true head-to-heads here, so that's always good. I'm on Louisiana +3. You got Tulane. We're both on Navy against your alma mater, Memphis. I'm on Houston. You're on Cincy. I'm on Kansas. You're on West Virginia. We're both on BYU. We're both on California, or Cal, whatever you prefer. I'm on Florida. You're on Mississippi State. I'm on Ole Miss team total. You're on Ole Miss spread. And then the last 4 we agree on, we got Boston College, Oklahoma State, Tennessee, and USC. Need a good week here, Dave. We got to turn it around. We got to get it going.
So we agree on 7 games, Mike. So, and I'll be honest with you. I don't know. Maybe I should knock on wood, but as the time goes on, they're knocking on the head. So I think we get a little bit better as the year goes on, and I think I feel good about this week. Knock on wood. So we'll see. Obviously, we've got a couple that we've got a couple we're silly on. Who knows about my Gators, right? I mean, I'm throwing it out there just to have fun. But we appreciate everybody being with us tonight. We had a good showing in the chat tonight, and look forward to another game, and look forward to another top 60 schedule. Who you got this week, Mike?
We're number 8 now, Dave. Just want to throw that out. We're number 8
What's
now.
that schedule again? And who you playing this week, Mike?
Number 8. South Florida.
That's right. You were a little afraid of that spread on that one, weren't you, buddy? So I would be 17. Too. Yeah, I think it's. I think sketchy. 14.
Real sketchy.
14 is going to be max there. It's going to be a little bit tighter.
I think realistically, it's going to be probably 41-17. But the fact that they gave Alabama such a good game, that's what gives me
scared you.
Pause. And they can run the football. South Florida can run the football.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Yeah, I think they're like
They're
number
legit.
8 in the country right now.
Dude, we got to play them next year. I'm like, more
Oh
losses.
no.
More losses
Ah.
in Florida, dude.
I
More
do
losses.
want to say thank you to everybody that did watch. If you're still watching, please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, right after this, well, maybe not immediately after, but shortly after, the NFL show is going to be starting.
Yes,
You can
we got
catch
we got
myself and Steel City Scott breaking down this week's NFL games.
That's right. We got to push that a little bit more, Mike. You haven't reminded me. Sometimes you got to remind me. Even though I watch it, we got to remember NFL after college. You guys got to watch, follow it, follow us, come see it. These guys are having a good time and doing a great job. So we appreciate everyone being with us tonight. Everyone watching. I think we had like damn near 150 views last week, which we're breaking records. Loving it. So hopefully we'll even break some more this week. So enjoyed it very much, and go Gators.